Golly gosh. Theft of lines, eh? We're live!
Hello!
Hello! Hello! Hello!
Hello!
Hello!
Hello!
Can anybody who isn't in the
Yes,
room with
I can
me...
hear you!
Who isn't in the room with me...
I'm just feeling like that tonight.
Who isn't in the room... Can you hear? Can see and hear. Thank you, Commander.
Oh, what did happen?
What happened where?
Oh, look. Wait a minute. Sorry, everybody.
What?
It's gone.
How are you on TikTok?
I don't know. I kind
It's
of
an advert.
on
Skip
and
ad.
Oh, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Oh, something... Can you just move that lamp? Something really bad has happened today. Forgot to bring my MacBook.
So we're on the emergency backup technology solution this evening.
It's slow.
No oxygen for 2 hours. That'll teach you to be bread baskets.
Oh no, don't do that weird stuff as well as everything else.
Aaron 582 Railways.
Why can't I see Aaron? What's going on? I can't see him. Oh.
Now that's interesting. So that's a members chat. It's not appearing on the tablet. Okie doke. So emergency backup solution is a Samsung A7. Yeah. So that's the emergency backup solution. It's going to be a different ramble this evening because I have a yawning cat in front of me, and technology is weird this evening, and the ramble topic is a work in progress. So it's going to be a bit of fishing from Discord and a bit of other things. So how has usual form?
It's all right. I've mended it. Don't worry. Backup solution is working. Thank you for your concern, Bluester. Thank you.
I think it's an A7 anyway. It was very cheap on Amazon. All I wanted it for was to read ebooks, to read my roleplay books, and I think I needed it to read a battle tome. That's right. It was during lockdown and when you couldn't get things because they either weren't being produced or they were stuck in the Suez Canal. Was it Suez? Not Panama. Yeah, Suez. In the Suez Canal. And it's like, I really want this book. I need something to read it on. So, yeah. Yeah, so a week, the week in Say Hi Paul. What has happened this last week?
While you're thinking about that, yes, Paul Gray, yes. That is exactly how I meant it when I typed it as well. You know, the old gladiators. Let's get ready to... But they say rumble.
Well, quite. Okay, so we have a super chat from Mick the Machine. Thank you, Mick the Machine. Shout out to Paul's dad if he's watching. Also, tickets, community event, Coke sponsorship, the usual, really. So I think I've got a list. So tickets to community events. We are about 3 or 4 weeks off the Crimson Ribbon event. There are still tickets available. It's a 2-day super narrative event, 5 games across 2 days to determine the fate of an imperial world that has suffered a invasion from the forces of chaos. Sorry, I've just been distracted by the phrase copyright in the chat. Yeah, so tickets still available from the Tabletop Events website. Whoop! And still no sponsorship. How? What? I don't get it. No one's been in touch. I've had no emails, no calls. It's like they don't want to make money. Yeah. There is a bin back there
that he totally misses every time. But yeah.
Well, it's more of a pile now because I only empty it periodically, and it's sort of like a volcano of cans. Because this is where I sit and work, you see, so they just get put back there, and yeah. So what happened Wednesday? I'm trying to remember what happened Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening, I tried to finish painting the Craven King and the Craven Guard for a game on Friday, which I utterly failed to do. So they didn't get finished. Had a game with Mick the Machine on Friday. That was Auric Warclans versus Nighthaunt. Great fun. That's not up yet on the YouTubes. It'll be going to the members lounge, that one. And I've lost track of what's going up when. I think we had a think we had a battle report last weekend, so probably in a couple of weeks that goes up. There's some vloggage ready to go up. Not had any of the previewy stuff from G Dubs for a while, but that's because the things they've been previewing I'm not on the list for, because there's just not nearly enough hours in the day to do all the stuff and all the things. So what else? Saturday, I thought I was going to finish painting the Craven King and his band of vicious foot pads, but I failed to finish those. We had a game planned on Sunday, didn't we? But life got in the way, and we never managed to get that. So I did more painting. Finally got the Craven King and the Scriptor Mortis and the Craven Guard complete. They're the subject of the next vlog that will happen, which is nice. Started yesterday evening repainting the robes of my hex rates because I'm not happy with them, or wasn't happy with them, and a Dreadblade Harrow to have a character to go with them to run about and stab stuff up, which will get me to about 2,500 points of Nighthaunt. Not a good 2,500 points, so really sort of decent choice at 1,500/2,000 point mark. And we shall see the extent to which I carry on. I've got lots of sort of what ifs floating around in my brain at the moment. I wanted to do work on Skaven. I want more of the Nighthaunt painted. And I've got a bunch of Astral Templars I need to do. But at the moment, I'm sticking with the Nighthaunt because I'm enjoying painting them. But I've got was I just saying? Can you think what I was just saying?
No, because I
Okay.
was just reading that from Paul Gray.
Okay.
You had a battle report with Gambit Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I just stopped in my sentence and don't know what it was. My work is incredibly busy at the moment, and my brain is basically pate right now and will be for the next couple of weeks. There's no live stream next week because I've got a couple of very long days, Monday, Tuesday next week. So there will not be a live stream next Tuesday because, I mean, I could just turn the internet on and you could sit and watch me dribble in the corner, but that's very niche. That's exceptionally niche. I think we're another layer of niche deep. If we're probably 3 or 4 layers of niche deep if we go for that. I have no idea what I was saying. So yes, I've got to paint these. I've got these Astral Templars to do, but I'm just gonna crack on with the Nighthaunt for as long as I'm enjoying them. I think, but a lot of my hobby time over the next few weeks is going to be taken up with prep for the Crimson Ribbon. I started doing that at the weekend. I've written about 40% of the missions now. I've got to do another bunch, then pull together a briefing pack for everyone. Try and get that done as soon as possible. I'm also toying with the idea of sorting out underneath my game table in the room because it's got to the point where the scenery. Sorry, I just remembered something. It's got to the point where the scenery doesn't all pack neatly under the table, and I've got boxes stacked up around the place. So I need to do more triaging with what's under the table, the stuff that's there that can go into the shed and that I don't need access to as offers. There's work to do there. Other mega news is those of you who are on Discord will know Mrs. Chapter Master Lexicus. So Sarah, who has been painting my Thondia terrain for me. And when Mick came over on Friday, he bought this absolutely amazing box full of individually wrapped goodies. When I was like a 5-year-old opening them all up, and so I'm going to do a hobby video about them. I'm going to get them all laid out and vlog those because they look super duper. What isn't pretty? That's the only thing I've just seen.
The thing is with this is that the send button is near my backspace button on my other computer. So I keep writing off a sentence and then sending it. And so I was just communicating with Paul Gray because he was saying that he wouldn't mind watching you sitting in the corner dribbling. And I said, it's not pretty.
Ah, right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm deeply concerned that Paul wants to watch me sitting in the corner dribbling.
He said that you'd look like what did he say? A something oak. That was quite.
Oh, Mad Boy Orc. Yeah, okay.
Boy Orc.
I mean, Mad Boy Orcs like eat their shoes and stuff. So.
That's what you were going to say. Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're crackers. So, how has your week been?
My week has been busy too. I don't think I've done anything that anybody will find particularly interesting, although I was just thinking, what did we do the other? Oh, I know what we did. We ordered all the t-shirts and sweatshirts for the merch.
That's right.
We? Yeah. So I'm prepping and planning for that. So I've got quite a few orders in already. So if anybody does want anything, please let me know as soon as possible. But I'm going to have a cut-off.
So yeah, these are these are for pickup at the Crimson Ribbon event, aren't they? Yeah. So
and we have got a logo for the Crimson Ribbon now, which we will probably be releasing it this week at some point.
Yeah, probably at some point. Yeah.
And so the logo is available if you want it on your merchandise that you buy. I can print it on there for you.
Basically, for those who aren't involved in the Crimson Ribbon, we are doing a sort of sample proof of concept, aren't we?
We are.
With a few different bits of merch to see if there's any legs in us doing merch independently.
Yeah.
So we've got all the gear, and you're a whiz with all that, aren't you?
Yeah, we did the merch for the Paul Fest. Was it 3?
2.
Paul Fest 2. I did all the merch for that. So we've got mugs and we've got coasters and
key rings,
bottles, all that sort of stuff. And that seemed to go really well. So I did your order, Paul. I did.
So super chat from Paul Gray. Spotted that you did my order, Crimson. Thank you, especially for the super huge gentleman.
Oh, it was not a problem. I have to say, it went up to an X8 on there, 8 and 9. 8 and 9 it was on there, and I was sort of like, you two were quite sort of little skinny minis at the side of that. So no, if any sizes are absolutely fine. They might differ a little bit in style. We
had trouble finding anything under 2X, didn't we?
2X was a problem, and we had to go for a little bit of a different style. So, but no, I am very, very sort of. I look at those sizes a lot, so it's fine. I can get all the sizes that we need. Just about.
Yeah, so depending on how that goes, we might end up doing the merch ourselves.
Yeah, we might do. I'm going to put some pictures. I'm going to do some and then put some pictures on the merch site for you to all have a look at. So anybody that's not coming to the Crimson Ribbon, if you want to have a look at them and you want anything, the nice thing about doing it ourselves is that you can have.
Well,
we're going to have whatever you want on them, can't you?
So we're not necessarily doing open field orders at this point, are we? Because we don't want to be deluged. So I thought we were just doing proof of concept at this point.
Yeah, we are.
Then expanding out later. Yeah.
So when I've put the pictures on there, if anyone does want anything, then
well, if we do it, we'll work out some kind of hosting site to go with, or something, won't we? To sell stuff from, or things.
I've remembered the teapots. The teapots I have. I must be just driving Paul mad about this. I keep saying the teapots. So the teapots are in hand, and I can get those to you. Well, I can get them printed when I print everything else, Kev, and then I'll just, if you want to send me your address, I'll just post it out to you in lots of bubble wrap. So you've got it.
So merch was a thing we did. There's a lot of merchy stuff. Anything else?
Yeah, I did the logo for the Crimson Ribbon. Said that, haven't I?
Yeah.
And yeah, we were going to have a game on Sunday, but sadly that
something came up,
went out the window. Didn't it? But
we'll try again.
And just on a different note, I'm in between contracts at the moment, which is where I can do all this fun stuff. So I'm in between contracts, and I found myself for the first time in 30 years of working, going to the job centre. I was traumatised, wasn't I, Paul?
The conversation about it was long and harrowing.
Yeah. There were people spitting. Now, I don't do spitting at the best of times, but there were people spitting, weren't there? It was horrific.
Harrowing.
So my job centre story is very, very boring, but just to say I will not be long before I find another contract. Because what it has taught me is if I carry on going back there, I'm probably going to catch something. So I can't.
No, I mean, I'm not laughing in a good way.
Well, you weren't laughing in a good way. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people that should be at the job centre, and I totally think they should be, but there's a lot of people that are just shouldn't. Carry on, or else I'll swear.
Yeah, stop.
Stopping at that.
Stop.
So that was my day. That was my week.
Good. Right, so I'm going to go fishing in Discord for Ramble subjects.
Do you want to I don't know whether you want to do. I've got a couple of ramble.
Why not?
topics. So, blue stuff.
Keep keeping it loose in it.
Now, I don't know whether this is a joke, and I'm getting to know these jokes a little bit more, but so why not ramble about how the Imperium keeps mucking itself up, like with the Badab War?
That is all correct. And
wow.
And makes sense.
Woo! I'm getting better.
You see, well, the Imperium has a long and inglorious history of self-destruction, really, and
it's just totally.
So it's an interesting one, this, and my brain isn't the RAM isn't accessing the
Give it a minute.
the hard disk.
It's
Yeah,
buffering.
and the clock speed is measured in hertz, not even megahertz today. So I've got buffer face. Without someone very strong and powerful and in many ways threatening at the helm, the Imperium falls in cycles to political intrigue. The Council of Terror has always been a hotbed of corruption and self-interest, and acting in the interest of individuals and organizations rather than the Imperium as a whole. And it is massively stagnant and dysfunctional, which means whenever anything significant happens, the response is often disparate and disjointed and not wholly wholly bought into across the board. And as a result, it's come close to falling apart on a number of occasions and doesn't learn its lessons. When there were Primarchs kicking about, this wasn't really a problem. And when Gilliman came back and said, right, you're basically all doing what I say or I'm having you, in not so many words, they all started to do what he said. So I guess it comes down to fear, lack of fear of powerful and self-serving individuals, amongst powerful self-serving individuals who will serve themselves ahead of the Imperium of Man. There you go. That's my answer. That buffers for quite a while. Hit me with another one, an easier one, please.
Okay, so Big Bad Peter. I love that name, Big Bad Peter. Question for you both. Which is the worst and best model you have built and painted?
Hang on.
What?
Have you logged in as me on that tablet?
No. Yeah, it logged it. No, it logged me out, put you in. I realised it had, so I've put me back in.
Because that's me.
Yeah, I know that.
That there.
It's not you now, though, is it? Because I'm typing now, though, aren't I? And that's not you, is it?
That's not me. Okay. What did Big Bad Pete want?
Big Bad Pete says, question for you both. Which is the worst and best model you have built and painted? This is easy for me because I've not done as many as you.
Well, I'm assuming that's worst and best painted and worst and best built. So the worst model I've ever built is an old Dark Eldar Ravager. It was a very, very flimsy central plastic vehicle with lots of very heavy metal parts on the extremities with tiny, tiny points to attach. And it took hours and hours and hours to get the silly thing to stick. Horrific model. Best model I've painted. Well, it's all subjective. I think the model I have been most proud of was, and I think that's a slightly different answer to the question, but the model I've been most proud of was in the very early days. I would have been 16, maybe 17. And I wasn't at the stage where I was painting whole squads. I was playing with unpainted models, as you do, as one did in those days. And I wasn't playing with that many unpainted models, though. I tended to paint them all badly to get them on the table. Anyway, and I spent what I considered to be an incredibly long time. I think it was about 10 or 11 hours painting an Imperial. What were they called? Because it was second ed. It was a sanctioned psyker. Except it wasn't called a sanctioned psyker. It was Astra Telepathica, I think. And it had a massive collar and a rod that it held up in the air. And I blended the green and blue on its cloak all the way down. And I highlighted the skin on his head, and I thought it looked superb. I did a lot of other detail on the rest of the model, and I've never been more pleased with the model than I was with that one at the time. Worst model I've ever painted. Goodness me. I would have to say my entire Tyranid army. Which you've never seen my Tyranid army because I sold it. And I sold it because it was awful. I tried to do... Back in the day, I was doing very, very, very quick paint schemes. I was doing a base coat, an ink, and a dry brush. And I was trying to find any way I could of doing that. And they just... Those metal models, those second ed Tyranids, just did not lend themselves to it. Because I still had a whole... Because it was sort of fourth ed, so all the second ed Tyranids were still kicking about on eBay really cheap, and I preferred them. So I collected those. And I tried to do the carapace in one... They ended up being a sort of reverse behemoth with sort of green guns, and they just looked abysmal. And then varnish over them to make them look sort of ichor-y. They look diabolical. So yeah, any Tyranid I painted in that scheme was awful. What about you?
Well, I've not done as many as you, so all I can say is the worst one that I've put together, which I've not finished putting together yet, is the Viper.
The Blood Rack Viper from Daughters of Cain.
Wow, that's because I'm just sort of a beginner, and I started off with demonettes, which are really tiny, and found that okay, but started putting this Viper together. Well, I think it took a little while. The air was a little bit blue, and it's still not finished, so I'm still working on that.
So I looked at a number of the parts of that with you. It's not an intuitive kit. It's... if you were to score them in terms of difficulty 1 to 5, I'd say that one would be a 4. It's not particularly easy.
Which was music to my ears when you picked it up, because I thought it's not me that can't do it. It is very, very difficult. Is that one? And I think the most fun I think I've got painting so far, am I allowed to say, it's Demonette's Bottoms. I really enjoy painting a demonette's bottom, getting the contour right, and yeah, it quite makes me smile. A demonette's bottom.
Do you know, I've painted a few of those myself, and yeah, they're fun.
They are fun. So yeah, that's me for now. Anyway,
when you're painting bottoms, it very much depends what you're painting. I know James from Clash of the Dyke was bemoaning the fact that he's recently had to paint something like 60 Oryx green butt cracks.
Yeah, I don't know a butt crack would do it for me, but a bottom does. Makes me smile.
More questiones?
Do you want to take one from Discord while I'm just...
I'll take one from Discord. If you could pick your online moniker again, this is from Squawk, what would you choose and why? I don't know anyone online called Monica, so... I don't know. I'm terrible at picking names for myself or picking anything to do with myself. Logo. I mean, Quipster designed my logo for me. I went with Say Hi Paul because it was that random joke that Winters and I kept doing whenever I appeared on his channel. And he'd go, and welcome to the channel, Paul. Say hi, Paul. Hi, Paul. I don't know, just seemed to make sense. The only other online moniker I've ever used is the name of one of my live roleplay characters, who was a monk, well, a priest, a pacifist. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I sorry, Squawk. I have virtually no inspiration for answering that question. I'm like, I don't know. Paul, guy with beard.
You can't even look at your own merchandise and it sit well with you. Because you're like, oh yeah, that'll do. You don't even like looking at your own face, do you?
No, I mean, there are no mirrors in the house. I'm not a vampire. Okay. Mick the Machine asked, given sufficient free time, what would you like to do for channel content, etc., in addition to what you already do? Oh, goodness me. Well, I mean, so many campaigns, so many there are so many narrative opportunities. I think if given, time's not a factor, I'd have many more terrain sets. And I know I've got loads already. I'd need a warehouse to keep them all in. But there are so many things on, so many worlds and scenarios in the fiction that just having a few Imperial buildings on a green battle map just doesn't cut it. And to be able to tell stories in very, very different places, I'd also like to do some big stuff with some other games. I'd love to do Necromunda campaign, and have that as an on-running thing with a group. It's just not practical with the time available. I'd really love to do what's it called, Blackstone Fortress and Cursed City. The logistics of doing that and the cameras and the editing, really, really very tricky. I've actually, believe it or not, like to do some really well done, well edited pieces that actually look really professional, still with a very narrative focus, and but they take a huge amount of effort off camera, which I don't have the bus fare for. A lot of which is, again, to do with time. I'd really enjoy doing all the Star Wars Legion stuff and running a Clone Wars campaign for a planet. Of course, I wouldn't be able to include any Jedi or Sith or anything in it because that wouldn't have happened, because you can't get generic Jedi, sort of Bob the Jedi, who you've never heard of, because there were lots of random Bob the Jedis. I find it difficult doing stuff with specific characters in a thing that's an historical setting. So you can sort of argue that, for instance, the Mandalorian, he's not tied to anything, even though that occurs in the past. You've not heard of him, you don't know of anything he does or doesn't do. But with Anakin Skywalker, that's all in the past. Everything he's done, he has done. So it's like, okay, he never came to this planet, so how are we possibly fighting a battle here? So I struggle with that. But yeah, I'd like to do Star Wars Legions. I'd like to go, droidicars! And Roger. And then clankers! Pew, 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 pew. Maybe some Warhammer Underworld. I'm not quite sure how you could do games that require card decks. I think there's potentially an interesting way of doing that with if you have an appropriate table, like you see on or used to see on late night poker, where they're on a glass table and they've got the cards face down and someone's looking up, the camera's looking up at them, and you interpose it in the corner, and Paul has got these cards and he's thinking of doing this horrible thing to his opponent. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. Yeah, some small stuff.
Are you ready?
Apparently.
Well, you don't have to, but you can carry on there if you want.
Nah, go on.
Teutonic Knight says, I remember in a previous chat you mentioned you thought GW messed up the Eldar Codex, and so we wouldn't see Eldar in the near future. What's gone wrong with it?
Okay, so this has been a recurring subject. In fact, I think we rambled about this a little bit last week. Basically, get comfy. I'll try not to be triggered. I'll try and be succinct. There's two problems with it. One problem is the ninth ed problem, where everything is horrifically complicated and has AP coming out of its ears that then has to be countered by all sorts of other silly rules. That's one aspect of it, but all the modern codices are suffering from that, and that's breaking my narrative immersion and why I'm not doing nearly as much 40k, because specific problems with that codex. There are 3 or 4, but they're big ones to me. I think it's called the Strands of Fate rule, making that an army-wide general rule that is, and I don't often say this, brokenly powerful, doesn't sit right with me. It's what sits right is the notion that a Farseer has some ability of that kind, that you tie it to a Farseer being in the army and on the table, rather than it being an army-wide thing. That's one thing. Some of the relocation of units to various different Force Org charts, the big one being Dire Avengers no longer being troops, but them not having done anything in the narrative to change that. If they changed the narrative and said, ever since such and such, the Dire Avengers are fewer in number on most craft worlds, and as such, the main battle line of all the war hosts are Guardian war hosts, because the Eldar are becoming more and more fewer and further between. I wouldn't like it, but I'd be able to get behind that. The fact that the book says the Dire Avengers, the backbone of almost any Eldar army, and you flick the rules, elites, mate. The other thing that is so narratively, one of the other things that's so narratively jarring is the 5-up invulnerable save on all aspect warriors. I mean, so that's the same invulnerable save as a knight's ion shield, and it works in close combat as well. It's as difficult to kill as a demon. In all the books, you know, when demons are wounded and the wounds close up and so on, that's their 5+ invulnerable save. That means Eldar and aspect armor are as invulnerable to severe damage as a demon is. No, it totally breaks it for me. Totally breaks it. And the other thing is they did very little with the Ynnari. They sort of went, okay, here's your one stratagem, and just have at it. They took something which, in the last publication it was very rich and very broad, and felt very, very different. It feels like they've done a really lazy job of it with the Eldar Codex. And little contradictions in it, like saying, "Oh, well, an Eldar Farseer who's a Ynnari doesn't search for skeins of fate. They draw on the power of the Reborn." Okay, fine. So they draw from the Revenant discipline, fine. But yet the army still has the skeins of fate rule, which is meant to represent Farseers drawing on the power to predict the future. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to stop before I spiral. There's lots of other little bits as well, but that's basically it. Broken for me. Hit me.
Literally.
Metaphorically.
Okay, Christian has a complicated question.
Okay.
So he's wanted to ask, right, and I've got to get this right. So since the Tau tolerate, yeah?
No.
No.
Since the Tau.
Is it Tauvar?
Tauvar, possibly. Keep going.
Emperor worship. Does this mean that there is a Tau? That's how it.
Ecclesiarchy.
Yeah. That launches crusades in the name of the Emperor and Tauvar. Oh, it's all making sense now, you see. Look, I know this one.
I think I can follow the train of thought. Would the Tau who worship the Emperor? I guess that would depend on, in their hierarchy of importance, whether they put veneration for him on Earth above the adherence to the greater good. If they did, different type of greater good, but nothing to do with swans. It's just one swan, actually. I guess if they venerate the Emperor above the greater good, then yeah, you would. I could see that you'd have Tau crusades. But I think the greater good is so utterly ingrained into the Tau psyche, I think it would be the other way around. That the adherence to the greater good means they wouldn't ever do that. That's having just heard about it, that's my thought.
A couple of suggestions for your name if you were to have a name change.
Yeah.
Mick says you could be the Garage Warlord, and he seems to think you might have used that once before.
So a group of us used to communicate via forum boards on the internet in the days before smartphones.
Whew.
And our forum was called Garage Warlords, and that was because we all played in our friends' garages. So those of you who know the Claw, he came up with that online handle and set up that website, and it was myself, the Claw, Storm Shroud from Fast Panda Gaming, and a couple of others. We were the Gambit. Gambit was one. Pure Tide and I don't think anyone else is in the Discord. But yeah, that was us. So but the reason I wouldn't have used that is because that's the clause thing. It would have been nicking it from him, and that would have been unfair purloinment, I think.
It is good, though. It's a good name.
I think in the very, very first battle report that we ever tried filming, it was myself and the Claw. And I think we said at the start, welcome to the Garage Warlords, because we were doing that at the time. So
yeah, I like it.
I think that's maybe where Mick's got it from, I think.
Maybe. Bluester says, now this is very simple, but absolutely accurate. That guy with the beard 40k at Say Hi Paul. So says what it is, says what it is on the packet. Says what it is.
I'm in a packet.
Oh dear, no, never. So I've got another question from Tash Gambit. Before it all got a bit stabby at Istvan, have I said that right?
Yep.
Okay. If the Primarchs were set on the night, which band would each try to drag the other ones to see, and why?
Say that last bit again. If the Primarchs
were set on a night out, which band would each try to drag the others to see, and why? My Chemical Romance has been mentioned.
Oh, God.
I've actually been to see My Chemical Romance, but yeah.
You have my deepest sympathy.
Been mentioned.
Right. Okay.
Not that bad.
Oh, I can't stick them.
Oh, God.
Can't stick them. Right. Okay, so we've got 18 Primarchs to work our way through here. I think so I think Kurz would see Cradle of Filth. I sort of have a Sepultura vibe coming off Angron. Mortarion, what makes you feel sick when you listen to it? Coldplay. I think Horus would be sort of maybe Foo Fighters, sort of middle of the road, kind of everyone can kind of get behind them. And I can see from the Jagatai would want to see the Who. Yeah, completely agree with that. Bluester. Who have we covered? Ahriman. Sorry, not Ahriman. Magnus. Magnus the Red. What would Magnus the Red listen to? Now you see this. Yeah. No, I think he'd be Sepultura. I don't think. See, I really.
Deep Purple.
I like Joe's answer. Magnus being Bowie. It's very sort of esoteric. Right, other Primarchs. So, would Sanguinius be all angry and bloody, or would he be kind of tranquil and angelic? If he'd be all angry and bloody, probably Slayer. Or maybe he sort of gives me a sort of Robbie Williams, Angels kind of vibe for Sanguinius. Gilliman, what's really pedestrian? Status quo. 3 chords sorted. I'm running out here. My brain's running dry. Need to think of more Primarchs. Why can't my brain think of Primarchs? Oh, what would that so and so listen to? Lord Aurelian. I think he would probably be
L. Johnson.
Rob Zombie, I would say, for Aurelian. Very chaotic. Lion L. Johnson. I want to say some kind of sort of poodle hair rock. I don't know why I associate that. What would the Emperor listen to? Us screaming into the void.
Or Beyonce.
No. I don't think so. Or Beyonce, maybe. Who knows? But the question was band, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's why it's bands, not musicians I'm going for.
Okay, then.
I feel like who? I think Perturabo would be Pantera, and I'm gonna change my change one of those. I don't think Logar would listen to Rob Zombie. I think he'd listen to Evanescence. I think it's just a little bit whiny.
Not take that then.
No. Black Sabbath. That should be Logar. Black Sabbath probably is probably what Horus would listen to. I think we've done this. Let's move on to something else before I start to overthink some of the.
Okay, so Bluester says, any chance you will revisit Rogue or Second and Third Ed for a game or two?
Unlikely. I'm very much a current edition kind of guy. There's just something fundamentally wrong in my psyche as to going back and playing the old games. Ironically, playing games with discontinued is different. I don't know. I don't. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Apart from anything else, trying to keep two rule sets for the same game in my brain is taxing. Hit me.
That's it.
That's it. Right. So, Cudfile Relic Hunter asks, if you could take any race from the lore and turn them into a playable force in the game, who would you pick? So not the obvious ones, being things that have been discussed before, like Exodites and Dark Mechanicus and Chaos Cults and so on. I think this is a bit of a bluer sky type thing. One chamber. That's because I just saw the word coal chamber written on there. Oh, coal chamber. Oh, you loco. One race you hear cropping up every now and then are the Hrud. Even in more contemporary 40Ks and in 30Ks, they reference the Hrud. So I think I would. I'd like to see the Hrud as a playable force. Totally new, totally different. And I think that's where Someone asked a while ago about Horus Heresy. I think, well, I don't know. Part of me wants to say I think GW missed a trick. I don't think they missed a trick. I think the Horus Heresy is going to be very successful for them. From my perspective, though, it really doesn't appeal particularly. What really would appeal is the Great Crusade, because you can have all of those legions as the legions they were meant to be, and the Imperial armies, and all those things tied together, and reclaiming the galaxy. The amount of races you could add in, the Hrud, the Mecharachnids, almost every book in the first 5 or 6 Horus Heresy books, when they're on the tail end of the Great Crusade, they've got really, really cool enemies. The Interrex, the Kinnebrecht. There's what else was there? The Techno Legion. There's all sorts in there that could make absolutely fantastic enemies that you could do all sorts of games of planetary. That's what I was trying to think of. The Erosian Technocracy. I had techno something in my head. And they're just the ones that were in those first couple of books. There's so much imagination and scope for new models and scenarios. Yeah, that's totally what I'd like to see. I could get behind that, because the stories that happened during the Great Crusade were sort of 300 years long. Those aren't written. They're not baked into any narrative anywhere. You could do, okay, so you've got some characters can't die. Okay, fine. We face that when we play with special characters in narrative games, and he teleports away at the last moment, or he backs off nursing his grievous wound, or his battle brothers come forward and drag him away, or he went into a healing coma, recovered after the battle, or he survived in the void of space for 3.5 months, found later on by a potato barge. I don't know what one of those is and why it's in space, but okay. So yeah, so Hrud and anything from the Horus Heresy, from the Great Crusade races. Yeah. What would you like to see 10th? So, question from Mick the Machine. What would you like to see 10th edition 40k bring back to the table? Fun. So you don't have to ignore the rules to have fun. You don't have to pass a GCSE on the content of each book to be able to play. And stats and profiles and rules that don't break your one's narrative immersion into a game.
Kieran?
Yes.
Oh, little Kieran! Paul, do you actually play Star Wars Legion?
I'm getting there.
I know. I just saw it and thought, we need to answer this now.
All right. Okay, now. Okay, Kieran, no, not yet. I have it. It's right there. I'm touching it now, but haven't opened it up yet. I haven't painted it because the rate of progress is so slow. The Claw keeps saying to me, "Oh, I'll give you a demo game. I'll give you a demo game," and I haven't taken up on it yet, and I really should get around to it.
Has Kieran
but
painted
I think he's painting. Well, when Mick was here at the weekend, Kieran was building them, so I don't know. I'd like to. I'm keen to play the Clone Wars rather than the Imperial, rather than the Star Wars one, and that's because the goodies in that are the sort of forest camo people, and there's only like 10 of them on Endor. It's like, okay, so every scenario we're playing, they're on the forest or on a forest. That seems pretty unlikely. Haven't they got some more because it never really came up in the film, there's no sort of generic what the rebels look like kind of thing. And that always sort of jarred with me. What are the rebel yeah stuff? Yeah, no, yeah, no.
But once they're painted, it should come round for a game, shouldn't they? That'd be fun. Kieran?
Yeah, maybe, potentially.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
So just popped to the bottom from Aaron Railways. With Star Wars Legion, what clone Legion battalion will you be painting? Now, if they had an Ahsoka model, and why they haven't got an Ahsoka model, I do not know. I would want to do the 501st with the orange markings. However, they're only viable in one battle. So if you're not fighting on Mandalore with them against Mandalorians rather than drones, no good. So I think I'd have to pick a one that wasn't one of the famous ones that fought with some of the main characters, so I could do more generic battles. I've got, and they're in the boxes here, I've got the sort of generic clone commander and the generic tactical droid, so I can do those fights and then maybe do things with Jedi much less frequently, because you can't have a generic Jedi. Sigh. I know people want to do, I'm Obi-Wan. Hey! But Obi-Wan never came here. It never happened. And he's always fighting one of the same 3 Sith. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Immortan Joe asks, are the Legion of the Damned Imperial demons or something else entirely? Yes. I think they have I think the easiest way to describe them are Imperial demons. I think they are Astartes who have become much more ethereal and esoteric in aspect and walk the line between the immaterium and the materium, which I think, demons is a reasonable description as any. Okay, so Hamelot. Given the amount of armies you own and the way rules change, if you had to stick to one playstyle for everything you collect, i.e. your favorite playstyle, not faction playstyle, what army and in what system would you keep if you ever had to go down to one army? It'd
be a very dark day.
I would keep my first generation Blood Angels. Playing a Codex compliant Blood Angels chapter is a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Never had an unenjoyable game. Never felt stressed when trying to work out what to do. That's what I keep. Immortan Joe says, that's a lot of words to say orcs. Huh. Hill 42 says, add to that, are living saints demon princes of the God Emperor? Yeah. Yes. Same principle. They have breached the line between the materium and the immaterium. They're physically present, same as the demon prince is. Yeah, I'd say yeah. That is trues. How are we for other questions?
Okay then. So, Joe's also put on Discord. What's your favourite Warhammer book? And have you read that? Have you read that out?
Through the Discord.
I know. I only wrote it down because it was after Kieran's. You see.
Okay.
God.
What?
All right. Good.
All
Yeah.
right.
Good.
Favorite Warhammer book? Have you read The Last Church? Haven't read The Last Church. Favorite Warhammer book is based on the number of times I've listened to it. I would say I can't remember what it's called. How's that for good? It's one of the Caiaphas Cain books. It's the one where he lands in the desert and has to lead an army of civilians through an orc army to the other side of the planet. It's an amazing book. I love it. I can't listen to it often enough. Other books I've really enjoyed and listened to a lot of times. No Fear is excellent. I'm working my way through all the AOS books at the moment that I can get my mitts on. Ironically, I haven't been inclined to go back to any of them, but I guess that's because I've had more new ones to listen to, and I haven't had to go back and go, right, which one did I enjoy? Oh, that one. I think I'm going to go back to Soul Wars again, though, because I listened to that. I listened to that before I really knew anything about AOS, so I'm wondering what I will pick up on from a second listen. Super chat from Adrian Smart. Hello all. Hope this finds you well. Paul, have an update on your Black Templars. One project of many, undoubtedly, but I hope you're enjoying them. Keep up the great work. Hang in there. So, an update on my Black Templars. I haven't painted any for quite a while, probably about 3 or 4 months. They are still my go-to Marine army at the moment. They are simple and fun to play. Last time I played them was when I went down to see Winters a couple of months ago, and that went up on his channel, I want to say about 3 weeks ago, versus his Death Guard. That was good fun. Glad you're enjoying things, bud, and you hang in there as well. And cheers. Oh. Was I answering a question?
No, I was just putting one to you.
Put it to me.
Luster says, have you ever tried the Bolt Action War game?
Tried? No. I've got some friends of mine decided we wanted to play Conflict 47 a while ago, so I've got a starter box for that. I think that's Bolt Action.
It was my fault.
Yeah, sorry. But I haven't even read the rule set. That's lamentably that's Storm Shroud's job because he's very good at that. How do I play this game, mate? Right, roll these down. Okay, what happened? You died. Oh. Boo! But no, they're not even in a being painted or even assembled stage yet. Any more for any more, or is that our lot?
I've got a question from Kev. The rebels had uniforms like snow, forest, etc. They were very organised for rebels.
Oh, yes. They had amazing wardrobes fit for any climate. Well, we don't know they were fit for any climate. We know they had clothes for 2 climates, cold and forest. If they'd ended up in a desert, they'd have been screwed. They'd have stood out like people walking around wearing white in a desert. Yeah.
Okay. Teutonic Knight. Anything you're really hoping to see in the new CSM Codex?
No, I just hope I still feel like playing my Marines after I've read it. And yeah. And I mean I'm hopeful, not optimistic.
Mick would like to know whether he can come round and play Death Skull against your Black Templars
Yeah,
at some stage.
maybe.
And there are some people that would like to see it.
I will think about it. I will consider it. As Winters would say, I'm a benevolent god. I don't know if he ever says that on camera. He says that a lot. When you say things like, I'm just going to nip to the loop, he goes, I will allow it. I'm a benevolent god.
There aren't any words, just no words.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a behind the scenes thing. I don't know if he ever says that on camera. Oh. I may have outed him. I will allow it. Yes.
Mick says it always makes him, I can't say it out loud, but it always makes him mess around, let's say, when he plays orcs.
Understood.
So it might be funny.
Might be funny.
Yes, that's just what I was thinking, actually, Bluester. That's just what I was thinking. But anyway.
Okay, any more for any more, or are we heading towards the wrap up?
I am happy to head towards wrap up if you want to.
Okay.
It's gone pretty quick.
It has gone very quick.
On?
Yeah, I know. We're about quarter to 10.
I feel like I've only been here 5 minutes.
I know. How's the backup system worked?
The backup system, it's worked all right, but I am ready to get my Mac back.
Yeah.
It's very slow and very clunky, but it has worked very well. Thank you very much, sir.
So, big thank you to Crimson for the adminning and the heckling as ever. I don't think there's been too much heckling tonight.
No. You've just done
raised
it behind the
heckles
scenes, like the Beyonce and the Take That and the.
I just glossed over that because I mean that was beneath contempt, so I treated it as such.
Yeah.
So, apart from you, who are we thanking?
We're thanking. Yeah.
There was another one.
Paul.
So a bit to Mick the Machine, Adrian Smart, and Paul Gray for the super chats. Thank you to everyone who is a channel member for your ongoing support. It is super much lots appreciated. It's double plus good.
Oh yeah, and Aaron used his 12 months membership question.
He did indeed.
Which was answered. Really good questions tonight.
It's been good stuff. stuff.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, Mick. Mwah.
Okay, so on that happy note, we will close there. Stay safe, everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye.